hidden wealth is sitting in Mercury Dimes, and most people have no idea. Right now, someone could be spending a tiny silver coin worth tens of thousands of dollars without even realizing it. If you have ever touched an old Mercury dime, dumped change on a counter, or searched through a coin jar, this video could save you from the biggest mistake of your life. Because some Mercury dimes are not just old coins. They are hidden treasure, silent fortunes, real auction money. Collectors are quietly fighting over these coins in private sales and secret auctions, and many of them are still hiding in everyday collections. So, before you spend another dime, check your pockets, check your drawers, and check that coin jar, because you might already be holding a small fortune. Today, we are revealing the top 4 most valuable ultra-rare Mercury dimes, and each coin on this list gets rarer, more valuable, and more shocking as we go. Make sure you stay until the end, because the final Mercury dime completely changes everything. These are coins you should never spend. These are hidden treasure coins worth huge money. And the first coin on our list is one of the most dangerous coins to ignore. The first coin I'm about to show you is so small that most people wouldn't even bother picking it up if they saw it on the ground. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't look expensive. And it doesn't feel special in your hand. Yet this single dime can be worth as much as a brand new American car or an entire year's paycheck for many hardworking families. And here's the most unsettling part of all. People have unknowingly spent this coin. People have inherited it and ignored it. People have held it and let it go because they didn't know what they were looking at. What you're about to learn isn't just about a Mercury dime. It's about one of the most extreme value gaps in U.S. coin history, where 10 cents becomes a life-altering amount of money because of one tiny detail most people never notice. This is the dime that makes veteran collectors stop breathing for a second, and if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. To understand how this happened, we need to go back more than a century. In 1916, the United States Mint introduced a completely new dime design. It featured Liberty wearing a winged cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. The design was elegant, modern, and powerful. Americans instantly loved it. Today, we call it the Mercury dime, and it's widely considered one of the most beautiful coins the U.S. Mint ever produced. That first year, Mercury dimes were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Denver. Philadelphia produced large numbers. San Francisco produced respectable numbers. Denver did not. The Denver Mint struck an astonishingly small number of Mercury dimes in 1916, so few that at the time, it raised no alarms at all. These coins weren't treated as collectibles. They weren't saved. They were immediately pushed into circulation during a time when Americans relied heavily on silver coinage for daily life. These dimes were used hard. They were spent fast. And they disappeared, quietly. Years passed, then decades. Then collectors began assembling complete Mercury dime sets. And that's when the problem revealed itself. Collectors could find 1916 Mercury dimes easily, until they needed one from Denver. Dealers searched inventory. Collectors searched collections. Auction houses searched archives. Almost nothing surfaced. That tiny letter on the back of the coin, the mint mark, suddenly became the most important detail in the entire series. And once the numismatic community realized how rare this coin truly was, something dangerous happened. Counterfeiting exploded. People began adding fake mint marks to common dimes. Some were crude. Others were incredibly sophisticated. Mint marks were carved, transplanted, altered, and disguised. Entire counterfeit operations existed solely to fake this one coin. To this day, the 1916 D Mercury dime remains one of the most counterfeited U.S. coins ever made. That's why authentication is everything. A genuine example has a very specific mint mark placement left of the fasces with precise spacing, angle, and depth. Even experienced collectors rely on magnification, diagnostics, and third-party grading to confirm authenticity. One tiny mistake, and the value collapses. Condition adds another layer of intensity. Most surviving examples are heavily worn. Finding one with strong detail, clean surfaces, and original character is incredibly rare. Each jump in grade doesn't add value, it multiplies it, and this is where the auction shock truly begins. Imagine a quiet auction room. No loud hype, no flashy graphics, just a single dime appearing on the screen. The room changes instantly. Collectors lean forward. Phones come out. Online bidders flood in from across the country. The opening bid starts, and within seconds, the numbers climb faster than most people can process. The auctioneer barely pauses between bids. Then it slows. 2 bidders remain. The room is silent. One more bid. A pause. A breath. And the hammer drops. No applause. No celebration. Just stunned silence. Because everyone in that room knows they just witnessed something rare, expensive, and historic. This dime doesn't appear often, and when it does, it doesn't just sell, it resets the market. That's why collectors never stop searching. Estate sales, old safety deposit boxes, family collections untouched for generations. Somewhere right now, someone owns this coin and has no idea what it really is. And now comes the moment that stops people cold. A genuine, fully authenticated 1916 Mercury Dime with a D mint mark in top collector condition has sold at auction for around $350,000. One dime, 10 cents turned into enough money to change a life. That sale is why this coin is considered the holy grail of Mercury dimes and why collectors will never stop hunting for it. If this opened your eyes to how valuable small details can be, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below if you've ever searched old dimes or inherited a coin collection. And don't leave yet, because the next coin we're covering has shocked even experienced collectors, and it might be much closer to your pocket than you think. Coin number 2, somewhere in America, a decision was made that seemed harmless at the time. A small silver dime was spent instead of saved. A coin was traded for something ordinary, food, fuel, a fare. No one stopped to think twice. That single moment erased something rare. Not destroyed, not melted, just lost. And today, that same decision would be worth more than most people earn in years. The coin I'm about to show you isn't famous because of headlines. It doesn't show up on casual lists. It isn't talked about loudly. It's dangerous because it hides in plain sight. This is a Mercury dime that survived when almost none were meant to, and even fewer survived correctly. And once you understand why, you'll realize how easy it is to miss the most valuable coins in American history. To understand this coin, we need to understand timing. By 1926, the Mercury dime had already been in circulation for 10 years. Americans were used to it. It wasn't new. It wasn't exciting. It was just money. Silver dimes were workhorses. They paid wages. They bought groceries. They moved constantly. Almost no one saved them. But behind the scenes, the U.S. Mint was making quiet decisions that would ripple forward for decades. In 1926, Mercury dimes were struck at 3 mints. Philadelphia produced large quantities. Denver contributed normally. San Francisco did not. The San Francisco Mint struck an unusually small number of Mercury dimes that year, and nearly every one of them went straight into circulation. There was no collector awareness, no warning signs, no reason to believe this coin would ever matter. And that's what sealed its fate, because San Francisco strikes of this period were often weaker than other mints. Details didn't always come up fully. The metal didn't flow as sharply. And when those coins entered circulation, they wore down fast. This created a perfect storm. Low production, weak strike, heavy circulation. Decades later, collectors finally noticed the damage. When Mercury dime collecting became serious, people began assembling full date and mint mark sets. At first, the 1926 S didn't seem impossible, just annoying. Then it became difficult, then frustrating. Then borderline hopeless. Collectors could find examples, but they were almost always worn smooth. The central details vanished early. Bands flattened quickly. Original surfaces disappeared. High-grade examples? Almost non-existent. This coin didn't just become rare. It became condition rare, the most unforgiving kind of rarity. That's why the 1926 S behaves differently than most coins. A small jump in condition doesn't add value. It multiplies it. Every incremental improvement removes dozens of surviving examples from contention. And that scarcity invited danger. Altered coins flooded the market. Mint marks were tampered with. Surfaces were manipulated. Coins were cleaned, smoothed, and improved to mimic higher grades. Collectors learned quickly this coin punishes mistakes. Today, authentication is mandatory. Specialists examine mint mark shape, placement, depth, strike quality, die characteristics, and surface originality. One wrong detail can erase a fortune instantly. And now, we reach the part most people never witness. The auction floor. When a high-grade 1926 Mercury dime with an S mint mark appears, it doesn't arrive with hype. It arrives with tension. Collectors recognize it immediately. They know how rarely this moment happens. The opening bid sounds unreal to outsiders, then it climbs. Fast. Phone bidders step in. Online platforms light up. The auctioneer barely finishes sentences. Then it slows. Only serious collectors remain. Each bid feels deliberate, calculated, heavy. No one wants to overpay, but no one wants to lose. Because this coin isn't just being purchased, it's being rescued. When the hammer finally drops, there's no applause. Just quiet acceptance. Everyone understands that they may not see another example like it for years or decades. That's why collectors still search relentlessly. Estate sales, old family collections, boxes untouched for generations. Somewhere, someone owns a 1926 Mercury dime with an S mint mark and believes it's just another old coin. And now comes the moment that reframes everything. A genuinely rare, fully authenticated, high-grade 1926 Mercury dime with the S mint mark has sold at auction for around $270,000. One dime, a coin overlooked for decades, suddenly commanding life-changing money. That sale is why this Mercury dime is no longer ignored. It's why collectors obsess over conditioned surfaces and tiny mint marks most people never notice. If this changed how you look at old coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below if you've ever searched through inherited coins or found something unexpected. And don't click away, because the next coin we're covering rewrites the rules of rarity even further, and it might already be closer to you than you think. Coin number 3. There's a year in American coin history that shouldn't exist the way it does. Not because of what was made, but because of what wasn't. In that year, millions of Americans handled money every day, yet one specific Mercury dime quietly became something most collectors would never hold in their lifetime. Not lost, not destroyed, just missing. And today, the absence of one tiny detail is the reason this dime has become one of the most misunderstood and most valuable coins in U.S. history. What I'm about to show you isn't rare at first glance. It doesn't scream importance. It doesn't look powerful, but it carries the weight of an entire year when America barely made dimes at all. And once you understand why, you realize how easily priceless coins can be ignored. To understand this coin, we need to talk about silence. In 1921, the United States was recovering from World War I. The economy was unstable. Silver coin production slowed dramatically. The mint wasn't focused on collectors, it was focused on survival, efficiency, and necessity. That year, Mercury dime production nearly stopped. Across the entire country, only 2 mints struck Mercury dimes. Denver, San Francisco, Philadelphia, the main mint, struck almost none. And that's where the story becomes dangerous. Because when Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, most people assume they're common. But in 1921, that assumption is catastrophic. The Philadelphia Mint produced a shockingly small number of Mercury dimes that year, so few that even experienced collectors underestimate how rare they truly are. These dimes weren't saved, they weren't celebrated, they weren't protected. They went straight into circulation at a time when every silver coin was used aggressively. The country needed money, not collectibles, and silver dimes worked hard. They paid wages. They bought food. They moved constantly. By the time collectors realized what had happened, it was too late. The damage was done. When Mercury Dime collecting became serious years later, collectors started assembling date and mint mark sets. And when they reached 1921, confusion set in. Denver coins were scarce. San Francisco coins were scarce. Philadelphia coins? Nearly invisible. Collectors searched dealer inventories. Auction archives were reviewed. Private collections were examined. The conclusion was shocking. The 1921 Mercury Dime, with no mint mark, wasn't just rare, it was structurally scarce. It existed in numbers so low that survival itself became the story, and condition made it worse. Most surviving examples are heavily worn. Central details disappear quickly on this issue. Weak strikes, heavy circulation, and decades of use erased sharpness almost immediately. High-grade examples are brutally rare. Each jump in condition removes dozens of coins from existence. This isn't a coin that tolerates average. It either survives or it doesn't, and that scarcity opened the door to danger. Altered coins entered the market. Dates were modified. Surfaces were manipulated. Unsuspecting collectors paid serious money for coins that weren't what they appeared to be. Today, authentication is non-negotiable. Experts examine strike characteristics, surface originality, die markers, and metal flow. A single inconsistency can erase years of value instantly. This coin doesn't forgive shortcuts. And now, we reach the moment most people never experience. The auction appearance. When a high-grade 1921 Mercury Dime with no mint mark appears, it doesn't arrive with hype. It arrives with disbelief. Collectors lean forward. Screens light up. Phone bidders pause conversations. Because everyone understands the same thing at once. This doesn't happen often. The opening bid sounds unrealistic. Then it climbs. Quietly. Rapidly. Methodically. No excitement. No noise. Just pressure. Each bid feels heavier than the last, not because of competition, but because of scarcity. This coin isn't being chased, it's being claimed. When the hammer finally falls, there's no celebration, just acceptance, because everyone in that room knows they may never see another opportunity like it again. That's why collectors still search relentlessly. Old family collections, estate sales, boxes untouched for generations. Somewhere, someone owns a 1921 Mercury Dime with no mint mark and believes it's ordinary. And now comes the moment that reframes everything. A fully authenticated, high-grade 1921 Mercury Dime with no mint mark has sold at auction for around $245,000. One dime, a coin defined by absence, turning 10 cents into life-changing money. That sale is why this Mercury Dime has become one of the most dangerous coins to underestimate. It's why collectors obsess over years with low production, and why silence in the mint records can be more powerful than noise. If this changed how you look at old coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below if you've ever searched through inherited dimes or old collections. And don't leave yet, because the next coin we're covering breaks even more rules, and it might already be closer to you than you think. Coin number 4. In 1942, the United States was flooding the economy with coins. Factories were running day and night. The nation was at war. Money had to move, fast. So, when people hear 1942 dime, they assume the story ends there. Common year. Mass production. Nothing special. That assumption is exactly why this coin still slips past people today. Because hidden inside one of the most heavily produced periods in U.S. coinage is a Mercury Dime so rare in the way that actually matters, it defies logic. This is not a story about age. It's not a story about low mintage. It's a story about survival under pressure. And once you understand that, you'll never look at wartime coins the same way again. To understand this coin, you have to understand the environment it was born into. By 1942, America was fully committed to World War II. Industrial priorities changed overnight. Metal was strategic. Time was critical. The U.S. Mint wasn't thinking about collectors or future rarity. It was thinking about speed, volume, and necessity. Coins were tools. Mercury dimes were struck in enormous quantities that year. Philadelphia produced millions. San Francisco followed closely. Denver also struck dimes, but under conditions unlike anything before or after. The Denver Mint was operating under constant strain. Equipment was pushed beyond normal limits. Dies were overused. Striking pressure varied wildly. Coins were rushed from press to circulation with minimal concern for strike quality or longevity. These dimes were not meant to last. They were meant to circulate immediately. And they did. 1942 Mercury dimes moved through the economy relentlessly. They paid factory wages. They bought food during rationing. They changed hands thousands of times in just a few years. No one set them aside. No one preserved them. No one imagined they would ever matter. But survival doesn't care about intention. As decades passed, collectors began to notice something unsettling. While plenty of 1942 Mercury dimes existed, very few from Denver survived in high condition. Most were weakly struck from the moment they were made. Details never fully formed. Bands were flat. Luster was shallow. When circulation began, it erased what little sharpness existed almost immediately. This created a hidden rarity, a coin that exists in large numbers, but almost never exists correctly. This is the most dangerous kind of rarity in numismatics because it hides inside assumptions. Collectors skipped 1942 D issues for years. They focused on earlier dates. They chased famous key dates. They ignored the war years. But registry collectors didn't ignore them. As competitive set building became more intense, a problem surfaced. Top-grade examples simply weren't appearing. Auction records showed gaps. Dealer inventories stayed empty. Private collections had nothing to offer. The realization hit quietly but firmly. The 1942 D Mercury dime was not rare by mintage, it was rare by survival. And condition rarity doesn't climb in value slowly. It explodes. Each grade jump eliminated dozens of coins, then hundreds, then nearly all of them. At the highest levels, only a microscopic handful existed, coins that somehow escaped weak strikes, harsh circulation, and decades of mishandling. That scarcity attracted danger. Coins were cleaned to simulate luster, dipped to brighten surfaces. Weak strikes were disguised as wear. Some coins looked impressive until examined closely. This is why this issue is brutal. There is no forgiveness. Original surfaces matter. Strike quality matters. Band definition matters. Die state matters. Luster flow matters. One wrong move destroys everything. Today, authentication is absolute. Specialists analyze metal flow, strike pressure, microscopic wear patterns, and surface originality. Any sign of interference collapses the value instantly. And now we arrive at the moment most people never see. The auction appearance. When a truly elite 1942 Mercury dime with a D mint mark surfaces, the reaction is subtle but intense. At first, there's skepticism. It's 1942. It's Denver. It shouldn't matter. Then the bidding starts, and it doesn't behave like a common coin. Numbers climb faster than expected. Phone bidders join quietly. Registry collectors step in with purpose. The auctioneer slows down, because every bid now carries weight. This isn't competition fueled by excitement. It's competition fueled by scarcity. Only a few collectors on Earth need this coin in this condition, and they all know how rarely it appears. Each bid feels final. Each pause stretches. Each number feels unreal. When the hammer finally drops, there's no celebration. Just understanding. Everyone in the room knows they just witnessed a wartime coin escape history's grind. That's why collectors still search relentlessly. Old war-era collections. Estate sales. Boxes of silver coins saved by families who lived through the 1940s. Somewhere, someone owns a 1942 Mercury dime with a D mint mark and believes it's just another common wartime coin. And now comes the moment that reframes everything. A fully authenticated, top-condition 1942 Mercury dime with the D mint mark has sold at auction for around $325,000. One dime. from one of the most overproduced years in U.S. history, transformed into life-changing money. That sale is why experienced collectors never dismiss common years anymore. It's why survival, originality, and condition can outweigh raw mintage numbers by orders of magnitude. If this changed how you see wartime silver coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below if you've ever searched through old World War II era dimes or inherited a family collection. And don't go anywhere, because the next coin we're covering pushes this paradox even further, and it may already be sitting unnoticed in your pocket. As you can see, these Mercury dimes are not just old coins. They are hidden pieces of American history that can be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the most shocking part is that many people still spend them without realizing their true value. Right now, somewhere out there, someone is accidentally using one of these coins to buy a cup of coffee, while collectors would fight to pay a fortune for it. So, before you spend another dime, check your pockets, check your coin jars, and check those old collections, because you never know when you might discover a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep discovering rare coins worth serious money, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who collects coins. You might help them avoid spending a small fortune. And tell me in the comments, have you ever found a rare coin in your pocket change? Also, make sure you watch my previous video about rare Kennedy half dollars, because some of those coins are worth huge money, and you could easily miss one if you don't know what to look for. Trust me, you don't want to spend one of those by mistake. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.